see some hands up for me to know that I'm being audible to the whole world? Yeah, thank you so very much. Once again, good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joseph Kolaole Adebola. I'm your host today, and I wish to welcome you to this weekly Renewed Hope Global Town Hall Conference. But as is usual, before we get to the conference, can we please rise up for our national anthem? Let's please rise up for our national anthem. Thank you very much. Nigeria. Thank you ever so much for that. It says, though tribe and tongue may differ, but a brotherhood will stand. I think that typifies the Nigeria of today. So for that, we remain grateful to the Most High for making us a unique nation. Thank you again, once again. I wish to welcome you to the Renewed Hope Global Virtual Town Hall Conference. Today's conference is another special edition as we will be engaging with one of our leaders who is no other person than Mr. Abba Abubakar Aliyu. He is the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, REA. And my co-host for today, Honorable Jacob Ogusheye, Hajia Rekia Bello Abubakar, Udeme Upe, Sheung Bayewu, and Tosin Olayinka, who will be assisting me as usual in moderating today's conference to ensure a smooth and uninterrupted deliberation. As usual, this conference is streaming live across social media and especially on Ben TV, courtesy of the CEO of the first Nigerian African TV digital channel, Alistair Sherode. Thank you so much, sir, for always being there for us. And just looking through the room today, I can see, as usual, we have many new faces, as well as the old participants. Thank you ever so much for your support. It is very much appreciated. In the meantime, on behalf of the team behind the Renewed Hope Global, I welcome you all to today's session. Towards the end of the program, I will be acknowledging the presence of some stakeholders and our leaders across the globe. We have in our midst, it's like I said earlier on, one of the top VVIPs from the administration of President Tinubu. The VVIP is no other person than Mr. Abba Abubakar Aliyu. He is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, REA. And our topic for today is accelerating rural electrification in Nigeria through innovative solutions for sustainable energy access. And as you are well know by now, this platform was set up as a veritable vehicle for interaction between Nigerians across the globe and our leaders in Nigeria. These are the people that hold apron strings of our country and are steering the ship of our fatherland with a view to enlightening our people regarding the inner workings of the administration of the day. Today, as always, we will be exploring another segment of President Tinubu's vision and policies in an interactive interview with one of the big shots within the government who will be dissecting President Tinubu's administration, shedding light on its significant achievements and forward-looking plans as encapsulated in the Renewed Hope agenda upon which the president campaigned, and we all gave him the mandate, as well as the golden keys to Aso Villa on the 25th of February 2023. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm pleased to announce that our special guest of honor of today has joined the conference. He is Mr. Abba Abubakar Aliyu, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, REA. So, to kickstart the conference, please permit me to read out the profile of our special guests. The profile of Mr. Abba Abubakar Aliyu reads thus. Mr. Abba Aliyu is the Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency, REA. He is at the forefront of Nigeria's electrification drive. With a strong background in energy policy and over 2 decades of experience, he oversees the implementation of ambitious projects to expand electricity access to rural and underserved regions, which includes the Rural Electrification Fund, REF, capital projects, and the $550 million Nigerian Electrification Project, NEP, a World Bank $350 million and African Development Bank $200 million initiative deploying mini-grids and solar power solutions. His leadership is instrumental in securing substantial funding for the NEP successive project called the Distributed Access Through Renewable Energy Scale-Up DARES, DARES, deploying solar power solutions and promoting renewable energy through innovative models like the Renewable Energy Service Company, RESCO. Mr. Aliyu is spearheading the development of a comprehensive national electrification strategy and implementation plan, NESIP, harmonizing national energy access data, improving partnerships, and mobilizing financial resources to accelerate Nigeria's journey towards universal access. To this end, I would like to say you are highly welcome, Your Excellency, to the Renewed Hope Global Virtual Town Hall Conference. Once again, our main topic for today is accelerating rural electrification in Nigeria through innovative solutions for sustainable energy access. So, as always, I will be the first to fire the first salvo to our special guest. Then I will yield the floor to the participants to fill their own questions. So because we have a lot of people on the program today, I'm just gonna ask just one question, probably maybe twist it into 2 so that you can just answer it all at once. My question, as always, is always centered around the theme of the day, and the theme of the day being accelerating rural electrification in Nigeria through innovative solutions for sustainable energy access. So what I'm just going to ask you, Your Excellency, is that can you please give Nigerians across the globe an overview of what the Rural Electrification Agency is all about? That is one. And given the theme of today's conference, to what extent has your agency been able to fulfill its mandate of accelerating rural electrification in Nigeria? Those are my 2 questions rolled into one. Thank you very much. You have the floor now, sir.
Thank you very much, Devola. Thank you for having me, and thank you for asking 2 questions in one. That's a very clever way to start the conversation. But once again, good evening to all the participants, and thank you for joining and giving me this opportunity to share what the current government is doing in terms of rural electrification. Before answering your question, I just want to give a context. You see, globally, there are over 600 million people that are without electricity. Most of this number of people are within the sub-Saharan Africa. And within the sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria has the highest number of people that are without this access. The current estimate is around 86 million Nigerians that are without this access. This is as much as the total population of most of the European countries. So just imagine this sheer number of people without access and the mandate to electrify these people. That is one. Then secondly, also, is these 86 million Nigerians that are without access, most of them, more than 50% of the 86 are in rural areas. And not only in rural areas, but they are living in sparsely populated communities. So the question is, what should be the best means of electrifying these communities? What is the most cost-effective means of electrifying this? And that additional also as a context, it costs just to build 1 kilometer of transmission line, it costs $1 million based on the rule of thumb. So imagine deploying thousands of transmission line, then thousands of distributions line to electrify these rural communities, most of which their demand is not very high. So to extend the grid to provide these rural communities with electricity is not the most cost-effective means of providing electricity. And that is why globally, the distributed renewable energy is adjusted as the best means of providing this electricity. So rather than extending the grid, you take the distribution plant to this community, build distribution network within the communities and electrify them based on their demands. And that is why the Rural Electrification Agency was created. It was created to, one, extend the grid where the grid can be extended to provide the rural communities with this electricity, or deploy the distributed renewable energy infrastructure in the communities and give them this, provide them with this electricity. So our mandate, it's as simple as two. One, create electricity access in communities where there's no this access. Two, create reliability for communities where there are no reliable supply of electricity. And in both the two, we are expected to leverage on renewable, that is sustainable, clean means of providing electricity to create the access and create the reliability. So this is what we are doing. If you are very conversant with the on-grid structure, there are classification of band A, B, C, D, up to E. Now, what our mandate is within that is for band D and E, we should work to provide them with this reliability. For this category, they have the access, but they only get electricity supply for not more than 4 hours. So for this, let us create reliability for them. Then for those that are completely without this access, let us deploy this distributed renewable energy to this community and provide them with the electricity. So that is just in summary, the overview of what REA is all about. The second part of your question in terms of to what extent have we fulfilled this mandate? So for us to deploy, to deliver on this big mandate, we designed different programs specifically to target different aspects of the mandate, of our mandate. The first is what I call that creating electricity access and economic development. And this is for communities that are without access. So we go to this community, deploy the infrastructure, and supply them with this. To this extent, to date, we have provided over 8 million Nigerians with this access. We have deployed over 200 mini grids across the country. In fact, just yesterday, I was in Ogun State in a community that is called, I think, Ibaragun. It's a community that is bordering Lagos. This community has been without electricity for over a decade. We went to this community and we commissioned a 1 megawatt divided into 500 isolated mini grid and 500 interconnected mini grids with a Ikeja electricity distribution company. So we provided them with that. And these are the kind of intervention that we have. and it's want to place it on record that there is no single state in Nigeria that REA has not gone to deploy either a mini grid or to extend the grid or to deploy solar home systems. So this is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is for the communities that are so much sparsely populated, which deploying the mini grid may not be economically viable. We intervene by providing standalone home system as the first line of creating electricity access to these communities. And it's on record, we have deployed close to 1.5 million solar home system across the country. So that is one aspect of it. The second thing that we have done to fulfill on our mandate is sectoral intervention. So we now see it, since electricity, it's an enabler of catalyzing economic development. We identified 3 key sectors of Nigerian economy for us to intervene: education sector, health sector, and agricultural sector. And I start with the education sector. It is on record that we intervene to provide reliability for federal universities across the country. To date, we have completed our intervention in 7 universities and 1 teaching hospital. The biggest of our intervention is the University of Maiduguri, which has a total capacity of 12 megawatts, powering the university, the teaching hospital, and we are working to extend it to power the only water treatment plant serving the Maiduguri metropolitan. We have it in University of Abuja, a 3 megawatt. If you go to University of Abuja now, the teaching theaters, the staff quarters, the lecture room, administrative block are all being powered by the 3 megawatt interconnected mini grid that we deployed at the university. The same thing with University of Calabar, including the teaching hospital, Alice Ikweme University, Nigerian Defense Academy, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. So 7 of them have been completed, and we are about to start commissioning them. And as we completed these 7 universities, we already have commenced work in another set of 8 universities and 1 teaching hospitals, which we hope to start commissioning as early as April this year. So in the next month, we will start. And these are universities that include Federal University of Technology, Imo Owerri State, Federal University in Uyo, Federal University in Port Harcourt, the one in Nasarawa and Lokoja, the one in Dusima and Yola. So all these universities we have been worked and will start commissioning in that regard. For health centers, it's on record we intervene in 100 health institution where we provide containerized mini grid that is powering the university, the health centers, critical components of the health institutions. We have deployed that, and it's working in different health centers across the country. In agriculture as well, we have intervened. We have identified key agricultural hubs, and we are working in deploying these mini grids in different ones. Currently, I'm working in 23 agricultural hubs across the country with 18 developers to help deploy our mini grids for us to enhance reliability of supply. And at the same time, we deploy post-harvest losses mitigation infrastructure in these hubs, cooling system, processing machines across the agricultural hubs. So this is something that we are doing. And there's also the aspect of planning. Currently, we have mapped the entire country using geospatial mapping, where we identify these the so-called 86 million Nigerians that are without access, where are they? What is their nature? What is there in the community? How many households do we have in the community? What is their demand load? What is the projected demand in the next 5 years? What is the nature of their occupation? And I tell you, to date, we have this data for the entire country. And this is something that we are using to plan for the biggest intervention that we have. So the third, to close on this, is we secured the biggest off-grid public sector infrastructure funding ever in the history of Africa. $750 million intervention that will catalyze 1.1 billion private sector intervention to electrify 17.5 million of the 86 million that are without access. This funding is already secured. The implementation of the project had already started. We are working now to deploy 40 interconnected mini grids with 7 of the distribution companies. And I can give you the details, the data of this. And in this regard, one thing that I want to emphasize is we are now becoming much more ambitious in our intervention. So if you look at the mini grid regulation, has put a cap of just 1 megawatt. We believe that based on the challenge in facing us, we need to do bigger projects, and we engage the regulator. We exchange on record 8 letters. We didn't give up. The first time we engaged them to increase the cap from 1 megawatt to at least 10, 20, or even 50, they refused. We keep bothering them. We keep giving them different researches, different data, one of which we gave them analysis of other African countries that have the number of people that are without electricity access, not more than 10 million, but their mini grid regulation cap, it's 50 megawatt. We gave them the data, and I'm happy to put it on record that the regulator now has listened to us, has given us an approval for the 40 interconnected mini grids that we are working on to do above 1 megawatt. On record, one of the interconnected mini grid that we want to do is 21.5 megawatts. There's 20, there's 15, there's 10. So we want to do bigger interconnected mini grid projects across the way. But that's not even the only one. The regulator has now seen the need to now come up with another regulation that we'll call interconnected mini grid regulation that will give us the ability, without seeking abrogation, to deploy these interconnected mini grids with higher capacity of more than 1 megawatt. So this is really huge achievement for us. It will give us to now be doing bigger projects across the country to address the access gap. Without leaving the DES project, as I mentioned that we have already 750, we were in Japan last 3 weeks with the Honorable Minister, and part of our discussion was additional co-financing from Japanese International Development Agency of $200 million. That conversation has gone far, with a target now to electrify additional 1,830,000 Nigerians. So you need to add that number to the 17.5 to see what we are targeting on. Then also Mr. President was in Tanzania, where he presented the Nigeria Electrification Compact, of which part of the 2 key achievements that Nigeria gotten from that trip of Mr. President in Tanzania. One was a conversation with the African Development Bank for desert to power project financing of $700 million that we would target additional 10 million Nigerians in the next 30 years. And that conversation has gone far. The second achievement was the signing of debt financing provided by International Finance Corporation to 4 of Nigerian local financing that have gotten $70 million as debt financing for them to participate in the DES project. So this is also one of some of the achievements that we have secured. There are many others, but I want to give opportunity for more questions. But this is just as brief as I should be but there is the National Public Sector Solarization Initiative that we are doing. There's the Renewable Asset Management Company, a 1 trillion naira company that want to do that will warehouse our asset and continue to raise funding for intervention. There is the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Funding, where we will continue with the Energizing Education Program Phase 4. We are targeting University of Obafemi Awolowo University, University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, Nsukka, Ahmadu Bello University, Benin, Taraba, and Jigawa. All these are also things that we have achieved, but I will give an opportunity for questions so that I don't utilize the entire time talking. Thank you, Adebola.
Thank you so very much for that. Even though you call it brief response, but for me, it's loaded. I was taking note, and trust me, at some point, I found it hard to keep up pace with you because there are so many information that you were throwing at us, which gladdens my heart. Because thing is, unless people come to programs like this, Nigerians will not know how much agencies like yours are doing to ensure that in tackling, especially the power problem that we have. And whilst you were talking, something just came to my head, and I thought before we go to the to our participants to start to ask questions, maybe I should just throw another one question now, because the thing is, there's been this argument for the centralization of our national grid. This is an argument that's been going on for decades, and whilst you were talking and you're talking about mini grids and everything, I'm thinking in my head, could that be some kind of subtle way of the government now trying to decentralize the national grid? I thought maybe I should ask that question for you to throw some more lights on it. Are we tilting towards decentralizing the national grid, or what's this mini grid all about, sir? Thank you.
So of course, I agree that the conversation around decentralizing the national grid has been at the front burner, and it's something that I personally know that the Honorable Minister of Power is critically looking at it as a means to ensure reliability. In fact, in one of the discussions that the Honorable Minister told me is leveraging on, for example, the northern states, which if you look at the generation portfolio of the country, most of the generation at the southern part of the country to be transmitted to the northern part. And that process of the transmitting and distributing, that is where we encounter a lot of technical losses due to aging infrastructure, and as a way to now address it is to create generation from the northern part of the country, so that even if something happens to the grid, there's a generation that can buff. For example, look at when the transmission towers were destroyed. 19 northern states have been without electricity, I think, for like 7 to 10 days. So if there's generation at that point, it's what we'll do. So we were looking at it from creating reliability, not necessarily the decentralization, because the decentralization is the main grid that will be looped into different segments to provide specific areas, so that the one channel line of providing electricity across the country can reduce. But for our own is to serve as a buffer, as a backup, as a means of creating reliability. Where the access is not reliable, we provide the access. Where there is issue with the main grid, we can provide. I foresee in future our intervention can, one, be a means of even doing black starts when the grid is something happens to the national grid. So this is something that I look at it. We providing more like auxiliary service and reliability, but the decentralization will be the main grid that will be decentralized, and our intervention is not within the main grid, unless if it is interconnected mini grids.
Oh, thank you so very much for that clarification. I think that has enlightened Nigerians across the world, especially those advocating for the decentralization. I think that will put every mind at it, because the fact that you are thinking of buffering what we have on ground now, for me, I think that's a proactive way of looking at, especially with the what's it called now? What we now know to be sabotage as part of the reason why the national grid keeps collapsing. I think going through this buffer system that you're talking about is one way of looking at it. That is as an alternative to utilizing it. So thank you so very much for that clarification. I'm really, really glad. And thank you so much. So I'll yield the floor now to one of my co-hosts who will then go onto the participants, because we have a lot of them who I believe will have some kind of one or two questions for you. We will be taking them maybe two questions at a time. Then you will respond. So that we'll save time, because we don't want to go beyond our 2 hours, so that we don't belabor you, because I know you guys are very busy, and we don't. If we consider it an honor for you to be here with us, so we just want to stick within that 2 hours. So we'll go two questions at a time from participants. So I'll be calling one of my co-hosts now, Honorable Udeme. You take the next two questions. So Honorable Jacob Ogushe should please be on standby. He will take another two questions. Thank you very much. Honorable Udeme, you have the floor now.
Thank you so much, my chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. And I want to say thank you to our special guest, His Excellency Abba Abubakar Aliyu, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency. Please, for the participants that will be asking questions, please limit your questions to 1 minute. As my chief host has spoken, that we want to keep to time. So please limit your question to 1 minute. I'll be calling on Engineer Bola Babarinde to ask the first question, and Olajuwon Daji, please be on standby. Bola Babarinde, you have the floor now. Thank you.
Thank you, Perman. My question, the first one, and welcome our guests. The first question is, how do you select your vendors? That is,
sorry, your microphone is quite low. I don't know if it's your distance from your phone or from your laptop or something.
Can you hear me better now?
It's
better
much
now?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You can go on.
It's
go
fine
on.
now. Okay. Yeah, I want to ask our guests, how do you select the vendors, the partner companies? What is the procedure? Because we also have a experienced solar company that we partner with in South Africa and in Nigeria. Then the second thing is that, do you have any plan to engage diaspora with experience in solar to assist in your work? Then the last one is, what are the interventions you're doing on floating solar? Because we have a very strong partner in China that we've been working with in South Africa that is very good in floating solar. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Olajuwon Daji. Admin, can you please unmute Olajuwon Daji, please? Olajuwon Daji, are you there? Olajuwon Daji. Okay. Can we go to Basi? Okay, right. Olajuwon Daji, you have the floor.
Hello, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome the Honorable DG. My question is not really much, it's just simple, straight, and precise. I'd like to know what measures do you have in place? You know, right now you're putting a lot of infrastructure on ground, which is involving quite a lot of money from solar farms, which you're building all over the country, and this is a quite expensive, capital-intensive expenditure. So in terms of solar farms, what are the security infrastructure you have in place? As you all know, these are all kind of like interconnected with the national grid, if I'm correct. What infrastructure will we have in place to ensure that once these farms are built, there starts continuous sustainability and the resources will for a long time be there, and the maintenance culture, as you know, we have in Nigeria for a long time to come?
Right. Thank you so much for your question. I will now yield the floor to our very special guest, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The first person asked 3 questions. How do we select vendors? What's our plan to engage the Nigerians in diaspora? And what's our plan also to deploy floating solar? The first question is selection of the vendor. It depends on our program. So we have 4 different sources of funding, and each source of funding has its different vendor selection modalities. The first source of our funding is the biggest one, which is the World Bank, African Development Bank funding, and potentially JICA, like I mentioned in the introduction. In this regard, we select private sector that meet our requirements in terms of technical standard, environmental standard, social standard, financial standard, and experience-wise. And we now sign what we call grant agreement. I want to make it clear that in what REA now is trying to do is moving away from issuing out contract, but catalyzing private sector to do this intervention. And I will mention the reason why we are doing that while answering the last question around sustainability. So we sign a grant agreement, a capital grant agreement with the private sector, whereby we give them our standard, our requirement. We even provide them access to debt financing, just like the one I mentioned that 4 of our developers signed with International Finance Corporation. So they now access this private sector debt financing. It can be even equity financing, deploy the infrastructure. Once they deploy it and it meets our requirement, we now give them the predetermined capital grant and subsidy that we agreed upon from the time we signed the grant agreement. So we select these vendors in an open way. Anybody, any company can go log on to our software that is called Odyssey. You will see all the requirements, the evaluation process. We try as much as possible to eliminate face-to-face interaction so that there's any bottleneck along the process. So you send your documents in terms of corporate governance, in terms of your financial plan, in terms of your financial resources, in terms of your environmental social management plan, in terms of your technical design, in terms of the site that you have identified you want to do it, in terms of your even the mini grid design. And once you meet such requirement, we now sign the grant agreement. So this is an open vendor selection for anyone that meets our requirements that I've mentioned. The second source of funding is the one that comes from the National Assembly. This is a year in, year out funding that we get prescribed. And this, in this regard, we go through the National Procurement, Public Procurement Act methodology, whereby we put out the advert for intervention based on the provision of the budget, and anybody goes through the process and the lucky person gets the award, the contract, and we monitor for implementation based on our technical design. The third source of funding, it's the one to do with kind of PPP arrangement, the one that we partner with the state subnational. In this regard, we engage the RESCOs, the Renewable Energy Service Company, also through competitive process. But in this particular one, it's not a whole contract award process. It's a PPP arrangement whereby the private sector brings in some funding, the REA brings some funding, the state brings some funding, so a tripartite agreement. So in this regard, we measure the vendors based on their experience in the PPP arrangement and based on their ability to deploy something similar across the country. So this is how we do the vendor selection. In terms of plan to engage the diaspora, I think we have been doing this so much. This is one of the avenue of engaging with the diaspora. But if you look at all our adverts, in fact, just last 2 weeks, we sent out an advert for operation and maintenance of our high capacity infrastructure at the universities. We advertise not only on the national dailies, but we advertise on DevEx, development sector oriented advert platform. So we did that to encourage to get in touch with the Nigerian diaspora for them to see those opportunities and to participate. And day in, day out, we do a lot of webinars. We look at a lot of roundtables where we open the Zoom for anybody anywhere in the world to participate. In terms of floating solar, a lot of proposal for the floating solar has been provided, but we are not considering, we need to see a proof of concept, because our money, it's a very hard-earned money. We can't use our money to do a proof of concept. So if there's any private sector that's very conversant with the floating solar, come and deploy, even if it is 100 kilowatt. Once we see this, I tell you, we will buy into it and we will continue to deploy it, just like how we now have seen the proof of concept of micro and small hydros, and we are working now on 300 kilowatt hybrid solar and micro hydro in Gombe, Balanga State, based on the proof of concept that we have seen by the United Nations Development Fund. The last question in terms of what major security, sustainability, operation and maintenance, our sustainability plan, we are very strong with sustainability plan, because one of the key challenges with renewable is the fact that there's a lifespan to the infrastructure that we use. The batteries, the PV panels will reach their end of life and you have to change it. So we developed a sustainability plan around technical sustainability, environmental sustainability, financial sustainability, and operations sustainability. We also, in all the solar farm, we deploy high quality perimeter fencing around our infrastructure. In fact, the company that fence all our high impact projects in the universities is the same company that United States are using for the Trump war. This is to show you how ambitious we are. There's a company called Cochrane, it's in South Africa. They're the ones that did most of the high infrastructure, Gaza, Egypt border, Afghanistan border, pyramid, or most of even the nuclear power plant in Japan. They are the ones that provided this physical perimeter fencing. So we use their product to fence it, because we believe that when it comes to solar power, physical fencing, it's very important. For the O&M, we built most of our intervention around the private sector, and that was why I said I will answer the question. That's why we use private sector to deploy our infrastructure is because of sustainability. If you as a private sector, you bring in debt and equity, you deploy the infrastructure, and we give you the capital grant, you have a skin in the game. So it means that you have to maintain that infrastructure over a period of time for you to pay in your debt and get a predetermined internal rate of return. So that is why we build it around the private sector, because government is not the best vehicle to manage this kind of infrastructure. So that's why we build the sustainability plan around the private sector. When it comes to sustainability, it's a whole lot of area that I can spend 1 hour to show you the strategy that we are doing. Even the renewable asset management company that I mentioned, a 1 trillion naira company that we're looking at doing, its main objective is to ensure sustainability, even for infrastructure that even the private sector failed to continue to manage. This company will have the financial capability to take over this asset, continue to manage it, or lend it out to the private sector. And that is why we are also working to catalyze and ecosystem within the renewable, the O&M ecosystem, whereby many companies, we want to crystallize many companies that would emerge as purely their line of business is operation and maintenance of renewable energy infrastructure. And that was why I mentioned that we published the first advert for O&M companies that will manage 7 of our university intervention across the country. So this is just a brief answer to the questions. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, sir, to that very comprehensive answers to the questions. Thank you so much. I will now hand over to my chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deme. Before I go to the next my next co-host, I wish to announce to Nigerians across the globe that today we have another set of VVVIPs who has joined us today, just to lend their support to our special guest today, and to lend us, the organizers, their support as they always do, and which we always appreciate. The first VVIP on the conference today is they don't come bigger than this. Trust me. When you hear the name, then you will understand why I said that. They don't come bigger than the Right Honorable Femi Gbadabiamila. He's a household name in Nigerian politics, and when you hear that name, you have to do nothing but to dove your heart for him. And for him, I think this is about the first time he's coming on this program. So for that, we remain ever so grateful to you, sir. Thank you so very much, because your presence on this program shows that encouragement to continue to do what we are doing, because all we're just doing is just trying to add value to this government, who we believe has been doing a lot for Nigerians ever since they came on board. And for those who have been shouting, now we are now seeing the result of the hard but necessary policies being put up by this government. And I've always been saying it. This is what should have been done decades ago. But because of the kind of blowback that this government had, that was why previous leaders have shied away from taking those difficult steps. But this present regime says, no, we're not going to, it's not going to be game as usual. So they are now taking difficult decisions. And I'm just blessed God that they have the political will to do what they are doing. And like I've always said, it's just a matter of time. We are now beginning to see the dividends of what they've been doing. I believe in the next couple of months, it's going to get better and better and better. At least we know now that price of foodstuff are coming down. That is a pointer. Thank you so very much for that. And we also have on the conference today the director of Mr. President's director of protocol. He was here last week and he's here again today. Again, they don't come bigger than this set of leaders for us. For us, we remain eternally grateful to you, sir. And it's no other person than Dr. Isaiah Niniola. Thank you so very much, sir, for having our back. Being here means a lot to us, and I believe it means a lot to Nigerians, both the participants and those watching, and millions watching on Bed TV and on our other social media handles. Thank you so very much, sir. We really appreciate your presence. God bless you. Now, let me just hand over to my co-host, who is Honorable Ogusheye. He will now take the next 2 questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. My chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. And again, I want to thank our guests for coming today. Before I go to the audio, the participants, I have a question I would want to ask you, sir. The question is, number one, is that in Nigeria generally we have what I call a maintenance culture. Maybe we have a very poor maintenance culture. And if you can see, one of the arguments I've read, because I've gone through some text as well before coming today, one of the arguments is that most of these mini grids are installed, abandoned, and they are no more functioning. How do you think we can move away from this? When they are installed, but later abandoned, and from there, that's the end. They will not be functioning anymore. That's first, number one. Now, before you answer that question, I will be calling on 2 people here. I will be calling on Basi Nton, then Deru. Before I go, can I tell the person using Acer, iPhone, Samsung, that probably you will not be called until you put your name on against your devices. Please put your name. We don't call Acer, we don't call iPhone. You want to know by your name, please, so that you can be called. So I can now ask Basi Nton to please unmute, and you have the floor, sir. You can speak on, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Renewed hope.
Your volume is not that perfect. Can you
Okay.
get closer
Good
to your...
afternoon, everybody.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I must appreciate this organization for the good works. Ever since I stumbled on this platform, I've been trying to follow up, and this is a good one. And since this occasion is in my field, which is electrical electronics, I have about 6 questions. Yes, wow. Yeah, but I'm not permitted to ask whether more than 2, which I even forwarded to the chat box. But I would like to appreciate the managing director and CEO of Rural Electrification for the good works. I have listened to his introduction to the entire process in the country in line of electrification. But sir, I want to ask, what is your organization or your agency doing to see that electrification is being maintained? Like for me, I've been listening to agitations for decentralization of the national grid. I've been listening to people saying that we should stop privatization because that limits some of us to unemployment. That pushes us to some of us to unemployment. So, sir, what is your organization doing to see that some of us or some graduates in the electrical electronics can be employed? Thank you. So let me just end there and leave other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bessie. Can I quickly call on Mr. Deru to please unmute and can have the floor, sir. Mr. Deru.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be on the platform today. Thank you for the good work you're doing on this platform. I just learned about it 2 days ago, and I'm happy I'm able to dial in today. I want to acknowledge all the dignity. I'm calling from California.
Thank you, sir.
So I want to really give kudos to the managing director, CEO of the Rural Electrification Agency. Everything he has said is as advertised. I bumped into some of the work material he has been posting on LinkedIn, and I was very skeptical at the beginning when I bumped into it in January, and I did a lot of digging, and in our office, we've done a lot of digging, research, and it's first class in terms of the quality of the response for proposal, quality of the questions, of the approach, the business model. I'm totally impressed. And even as a result of this, I traveled to Nigeria to make sure that this is advertised before we put any effort to this opportunity or solicitation. And he's right. There is minimal contact from anybody, and I'm truly impressed. This is first class. Thank you very much for your leadership and for everything you've done. This is renewed hope in itself. So I've studied a lot of the programs, the performance-based grants. I've studied a lot of the things you have on Odyssey. We've done it in my office. We have a solar development company in California. So we do a lot of solar developments here. I have 2 questions or maybe comments. One, under the Odyssey, when you look at the overview of the opportunities with the subsidies that are assigned to different communities, I want to know how you handle the no predetermined subsidy. How does that work? Where you have that classification of no predetermined subsidy, I want to understand what that is. Because that is where I think you have the most economic value even though they might be underserved or they are not isolated, because I'm familiar with some of those areas. You've mentioned some of the questions I would have about the rural electrification and how the interconnection and the challenges with the distribution system. The second question I have or comment is, when we're going through the material, it was very difficult. It was a steep learning curve because we've not been following the regulations and everything. I think it would be good to have, your website has a lot of classifications based on your programs. Excuse me. So it would be good to have a central location or like a cheat sheet that has kind of the overview of the program. You've explained it very well. I'm so happy I'm on this call, of the different programs, the way they tie into each other. And it will be good to have the links. I know on Odyssey, you have the links to some of the different documents, but it would be good to have kind of a quick, maybe orientation on what you're doing, maybe a 1-hour video that points you to where the regulation is, where the programs, that is just succinct, that would just help. Or if you have that already, if you can point us to that, that would be beneficial. Thank you very much. And once again, kudos to the great work you're doing.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. I can now go back to our chief, to our guest. So you can take over now, sir, for the 3 questions.
All right. Thank you very much once again. I'll start with your question, which is around the maintenance culture that you asked. And like I explained earlier, our maintenance culture is part of our sustainability plan. So we have a very comprehensive sustainability plan, and one of which, like I mentioned, is building our intervention around the private sector and making sure that the private sector have a skin in the game, which means that they have the obligation, whether they or not, to continue to operate that infrastructure, because they have provided their own funding in the deployment of the infrastructure, which means that they have to recoup their financing and to be able to make some profit over a period of time. So that is the first level. The second level of it, which often not seen, is to ensure the sustainability and the operation and maintenance of it. It's in each communities that we deploy this infrastructure, we create what we call the reuse, Renewable Electricity Users Cooperative Association. This is a gathering of youth within the communities that will be trained as operation and maintenance of the mini grid within the community, and at the same time to get the communities buy-in. We will not sign any grant agreement with any of the private sector if there is no consensus in terms of the tariff. So an agreement between the community and the private sector in terms of the tariff that would be. This also ensured that the infrastructure, when deployed, will continue to operate because the people have key into the financial operations of the mini grid. So that is for the private sector. But for the big projects that we intervene, like the ones at the university, I mentioned the one, for example, the 12 megawatt at Maiduguri, or the 3 in Abuja, or the 7 in Calabar. For this, we created a renewable asset management company. This asset will be on the balance sheet of this company, and the company will use them as an asset to raise more funding for us to continue to do intervention. But at the same time, the renewable asset management company will engage the services of O&M, that we will sign a long-term O&M contract with them for them to operate the mini grid and deliver on its operation and maintenance over a period of time. I told you that just last week we sent out one of the adverts. Clearly, I'm happy some people are corroborating, was sent out for the general public, those that meet the requirement, operation and maintenance company to do it. And this is also the one way of the present government that is creating a sub-ecosystem within a sector. Like I mentioned before, we want to create an renewable operation and management subsector in the country. So you will now see new companies coming up from different areas, specializing in renewable operation and management and getting opportunities to manage this infrastructure over a period of time, creating job opportunities, enhancing the GDP and the revenue base of the country. So this is what we are doing in that regard. For the questionnaire that asks around the university student getting the job opportunities, and I want to put it on record, I'm very passionate of this. The vision of Mr. President is to make Nigeria the renewable hub of this end of sub-Saharan Africa. We keep talking about we have 86 million people without electricity, and people are seeing it as a challenge. But the present government, we are seeing this as an opportunity to enhance this country's economic development. And we want to change this, turn this challenge into opportunities. And that is exactly what we are doing. We are opening this renewable space in the level that has never been done before. I talked about the funding. We are looking at close to $3 billion being pumped into the sector. The $750 million that has already been crystallized, the $200 million that we are discussing with JICA to crystallize it, the $700 million that we are discussing also with African Development Bank, and the expected close to $1.3 billion from the private sector, all will be pumped into this sector. So this sector has already created the RESCOs, the renewable energy service companies. This is a job opportunities for the youth. These companies are looking for the youth that have experience in renewable, in engineering, in financial modeling, in business development, in even security guards. They're looking for this talent and they're recruiting. Just about 3 months back, there was an advert for a program that we call RESCO Next to engage a 6th youth that will be trained for 1 year. This is unprecedented, not the kind of training that we normally use to 1 week, 2 weeks training. This is a whole 1 year training, 3 months class training, 7 months or 8 months or 9 months internship with the RESCOs, and all the 60 will have automatic employment at this RESCO. Already we are keen it. We have gotten more than 1,000 applications that we are reviewing. We will soon invite the people to start the process. But this is not even so. The most important that I want to stress to each and every one of us is the localization of manufacturing in the country. Just yesterday, I was in a meeting with SEMAN, the Association of Renewable Energy Manufacturers in the country. It is on record that REA to date has crystallized the emergence of about 600 megawatt PV panel manufacturing and assembly plants in the country. JRV here in Abuja with 250 megawatt capacity, Levin in Lagos with 100 megawatt capacity, Oxano in Lagos with 110 megawatt capacity, Grid Connect, I think, with about 150 megawatt capacity. These are, imagine we are coming up with this, not to talk about the Green Vault investment in Lagos trade-free zone for $150 million for battery assembly plant in Lagos that we are in partnership with. So we are slowly but surely going to make this country the renewable hub of West Africa. Not to talk about the partnership that we are doing with Impracov and Mofi and for solar tech, a 1 gigawatt solar PV manufacturing plant, and another one with Owando for 1.2 gigawatt PV panel assembly plant. These are all coming up, and we are making a case to protect this manufacturing outfit in the country, to make sure that all our intervention we are doing, we are patronizing this local company. All this will crystallize a lot of or job opportunities in the country. Let me also tell you other sub-sector that we are crystallizing. Even electric mobility. we are crystallizing. We were about to sign grant agreement with about, I think 18, if I'm not mistaken, developers that would deploy e-mobility across the country under a project that we call productive use of equipment. This will catalyze employment for even, so give you an example, the POS operator, we want to enhance their businesses. We want to make them, apart from doing POS, they are doing battery swapping business. So the tricycle, rather than to go and buy fuel, can just come with his electric motorcycle, stop at the POS, remove his battery, and the POS had already over the night charged 20 battery. They swap. He takes the charge one, pay him 2,000, 2,500, and he goes. That saved the time of the tricycle driver, saved him cost, and has created a job opportunity for the POS. In the night, he can charge the battery overnight, and you continue to swap. So all this little ecosystem, we are creating them to create job opportunities across the country. The next question around the subsidy, how we determine the differentiated subsidy across the country. This is a learning from the Nigeria Electrification project. When we now realize that most of the developers, because they are economically conscious, they like to deploy their infrastructure in these peri-urbans or areas that have high economic potential. But we have the hard to reach areas, the last mile. Those areas are not often uptaken by the private sector. There's now, for us to incentivize the private sector to go to the remote areas, this is the vision of the Honorable Minister, that even the last mile must be electrified. So we now design this grant agreement to incentivize, where we give high grant for these hard to reach areas. And we determine these hard to reach areas based on security of the areas, based on the logistical challenge to go to these areas, based on their distance to the grid, and a number of factors. So these are what we determine and what we use to give high percentage or high grant to those hard to reach areas and lower percentage to the areas that are economically viable. And it's also our own way of efficiently making use of our resources. The last question in terms of why shouldn't we have like a central location of data where it can give more information of all the different projects that we are doing. We are doing about 13 projects. Our landmark project of eHeart that we just started, that we are partnering with the state, it's going to be another boom in the sector. We are working to revamp our website, but we want to finish with the development of our business plan. We are redesigning, re-engineering the REA on its own, because from an agency that was just managing $550 million to an agency that potentially will manage $3 billion, we need to really ask ourselves whether we still have the same competencies and skills and the infrastructure and system to manage that. And that is why we got a grant from World Bank, and they engaged a company called Delberg, and they're currently developing a 5-year business plan that will change our system, our strategy, our structure, our implementation and operational plans. So once that is done, it will lead to rebranding of REA, even moving to a new office. So till that happens, we are very close to completing that process. We intend part of that will include revamping our website to give you all this information in a centralized way. In fact, it will give you even virtual reality to all our projects. We intend to even deploy the National Electrification Strategy and Implementation Plan that will give you an app that will be on your phone, that you can see from your phone all the so-called mini-grids that we say we deploy, and you can see whether they are working or they are not working. So this is a brief in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the exhaustive explanation, sir. And I now hand over back to my chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you so very much, Honorable Ogunseye, for that, and thank you once again to our special guest. I've just cited another VVIP on the conference today, He too he has been a regular, not just a regular. He used to be one of us in diaspora. He's one of the diaspora that was headhunted and asked to go to come and add value to this government, and he's been doing fantastically well. He's the DG and CEO of the Energy Commission of Nigeria. He's no other person than Dr. Mustafa Abdullahi. He's on this program now again, lending his support to our special guest and to us. And I think it's only fair for me to give him maybe a minute or two for him to address us. Can we please unmute Dr. Mustafa Abdullahi, please?
Don't worry, I've muted myself. I've unmuted myself, I mean. Thank you so much, my brother, my chairman, Jacob Adebola. I appreciate you and thanks so much for convening this meeting. And I want to especially appreciate our MD. I must say you're doing well. We see you everywhere. So you're doing fantastically well. And congratulations for your confirmation. ECN, I mean, I'm sure you popularly know Energy Commission of Nigeria. We play a very central role in the energy sector. Our first mandate, which is a major mandate, is to enforce and also to coordinate policies that has to do with energy in all its ramifications. And I'm sure when you say energy, the first thing that comes to your mind is what is that energy? So for us in layman, we say oil and gas and electricity. So the electricity part is the one I'm more concerned with because I've heard everything you've said, and to be frank, I think we have a new sheriff in town. Your knowledge.
Abdullahi, can you put your video on, sir? We'd like to see your
okay. Well, I'm not in a very, very good location, so I wanted to just hide my face. But if you must see me, then okay. So, like I was saying, MD, really, I've had everything you've said. The figures you've called are very, very impressive. In also an agency having responsibility of energy efficiency and also renewable energy coordination. I just want to touch on a few things we're doing that's very similar to what you're doing. So, because as a government agency, we cannot help it than just to, collaborate. You talked about solar PV, panels coming, some factories that are coming up. It will interest you to know that, the ECN actually has 6 energy research centers across all geopolitical zones in the country. And all that research centers will have a pilot plant for PV system, but just about 50 megawatts. So we're looking at maybe say 5,000 panels. That is not enough. That is why I was taken aback. My budget, my envelope was about 20 billion, but I woke up to see 365 billion. And I called my minister, what is going on? And I was told, and I saw the heading there, and I saw renewed hope, solarization for critical infrastructure. And that brings me to what you've been doing, because there's a need to collaborate here. So I've been saddled with the responsibility of selecting some critical infrastructure, conduct an audit, see whatever they need, what are they using as energy mix or source, then see how we could solarize the place using, photovoltaic cells. And this is all I hear REA do every day. And I'm like, okay, I will come to this program and say this to you, because don't be surprised that I will be in your site, also putting panels everywhere. But we don't want to do that. We want to identify those areas where you've already worked or you're working. Then we'll move ours to another site so that we can solarize the entire country. I'm also very much aware that, the World Bank program and you have so many programs that has to do with, how to reach areas, but ours, what we are looking at is really to utilize 2 strengths, the solar strength and also the wind strength. So we're using that money not just to put solar energy, we're doing an integrated system or a hybrid system that has to utilize that will utilize our solar and also the wind system. where you have turbines integrated and also mini system combined. That's what we're looking at. So we don't have just one-way energy mix. So I want to call on you to please find time. Let's speak. Let's look at whatever program we're doing. We also have a very critical document that will interest you. You know, a lot of solar, solarization going on everywhere. There is a key document that was built by Mr. President recently. It came in 2023. I looked at, okay, why are we not coordinatively doing things? This guy there is, installing solar PV. You have a program over there. Ministry of Power is doing one, and other energy. Everybody is doing solar PV. So we decided to set a standard. We designed what they call MEPS, the minimum energy performance standard for PV systems. So that even if Energy Commission is not installing PV system, you must have a standard that complies with, and Mr. President took it to FERC and it was approved. We also have a document, National Energy Master Plan, and also its policy, National Energy Policy, that was unveiled, gazetted one, unveiled in May 2024. We developed that document. Mr. President also signed that document. And it gives us a roadmap for solarization, or how much do we think we can offset from the grid using solar PV. I think if we know these figures, that is when we'll begin to do things so that we just don't put panels all over our lands. And at the end of the day, maybe our energy mix is still as strangulated as possible. So we are looking at diversification. Mr. President has given us a directive already. He was recently in Tanzania, and his speech there was clear-cut. And I'm sure you were there too, maybe Dubai, and 2 conferences. And he said he wants to see our energy mix by 2030 to be renewable energy, 50% renewable energy. So it means for us is the directive. And that's why, seeing that kind of figures, because for us in the ECN, we're like, we work with 10 billion, 20 billion. Now we're having 365 billion. So it's a tax for us. Renewable agenda, Mr. President, is not just a hearsay. We have to stand up, put some physical infrastructure, tell the people, not just, in fact, before putting that infrastructure, we also need to conduct. I have started with one. I'll just give us an example. We went to UNTH in Enugu. So we audited the energy system there. And we realized that they are spending about 160 million per month on diesels and, our grid paying for the PSCN over there. And we did another simulatory studies. If we have to take them off the grid by 50%. We now realize that if we add some storage system batteries, they will be saving 120 million monthly. Imagine if you cut across all universities or all teaching hospitals, if we have to take critical infrastructure off the grid, or even 70% of the grid, how much you'll be saving for the government. Because they are not paying. It is the Ministry of Budget that allocates money for all this. It's an overhead. And we're talking about saving costs. We cannot also do this without localization. We need to localize this technology, which is why I said earlier that we had this thing going. Naseni has some plants, but it's on a very, very micro scale. But what we have to do is to look at the resources coming to us. How can we set some aside to scale up what we already have? Because for me, it's sustainability of whatever program we have. It's not about buying or importing panels or battery systems or inverter everywhere. How do we look at what we have as our raw materials in the country, convert it to a useful panels, and we can solarize it. And that makes it's going to be cheaper. We don't even need to intervene anymore. If we're producing it, people are going to buy it very, very cheap, because the GDP is going to grow. So really that is our focus in ECN, how we can guarantee energy security. And this is also our major mandate, energy security. And before you can guarantee that, the access must be there, the affordability must be there, and also maybe incentives. We must also give some programs. So this just to give you an overview of what we're doing, so that we will maybe catch up one of these days to see how we could collaboratively work together. My number will be, I will drop my number. I have your number actually, because somebody reached out to me, Hafiz or something. Going to just reach out to me already, and I said, "Oh, yes, I'll be meeting the MD very soon." But I knew this is coming, so I said, "This is the best avenue to catch up with you here, so you can see my face. And anytime, we are playing, like I said, we're playing a central role here. Our board is Mr. President is our board chairman, and we have all the critical ministers as our members. So I'm the secretary, so I'm playing a very, very central role. So it's important that we sit down, we look at that master plan, look at that energy policy, because everything we're doing must be in line with the Mr. President Renewed Hope agenda. So that is the key. So let me not, because I can see so many hands raising there. So MD, I say kudos to you. I see everything you're doing, wonderful. You're very, and you have my support. Anyhow, whatever you think, however you want us to come in at ECN, just buzz on me and you'll have my call. Thank you so much. And the organizer, JK, my chairman, he said I used to be his colleague. Yes, I used to be the deputy chairman North in the APC UK. I was in DPR, but I was seconded, I was in London. So I spent most of my life in London with these guys here. So they're all my colleagues. Everybody, I can see different names here. They're all, Hajari Kia, that's my major, senior sister, Boyo, Ogunseye. These are guys we started APC United Kingdom with back then. So, and they all pushed us to be where we are today. I appreciate you guys. Our major leader, I can't leave here without, I know you're a ghost over there. Our, yeah, Ade Omole. So I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you and thank you so much. MD, well done. Bye.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Mustafa. I'm not sure whether the special guest would like to respond to that, or do you want us to go ahead? The reason why I'm asking you to respond now is this, because for me, I'm in my head, I'm thinking, what is happening here now bowls me over, because for those who out there who are still thinking, who are still doubting this administration, I think it is safe to say that the Renewed Hope administration is God's gift to Nigeria, because now it's clear to us now that gone are the days when departments, ministries, agencies are working at silos. Now we have two DGs now telling the whole world that they're ready to collaborate. For me, it's a dream. Because if we can pull this through, trust me, before the first time of this administration, I'm sure we will all be shouting, is it Eureka they call it? So for me, I can't thank you guys enough. So I don't know whether you can just spend maybe 1 or 2 minutes just to respond to that before we go to our next participants. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, DG, also, my brother. If you remember, we met at the COP, I think 29, and part of that was the first time I think we met, and we had some engagement since then. And even me, I've been seeing a lot of work that you are doing. It may interest you to know that I used to be a consultant to Energy Commission before being appointed under the United UNDP program that is being implemented by ECN. So I'm very much conversant with the work that ECN is doing, and I've seen the new invention that you brought to ECN, and definitely we will partner that as early as next week. I will come to your office for us to strategize. Thank you very much for joining this and giving us the highlight of key highlights of some of the good work that you are doing at ECN. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you for our two VIPs. Thank you so much. So let me hand over to another co-host now. She's the mother of the house. She's Hajia Rekia Bello Abubakar. You will take the next two questions. Hajia Rekia Bello Abubakar, you have the floor now.
Thank you very much, our chief host, Ambassador JK Adebola. Thank you so much for your contribution, our very own Dr. Mustafa, DG ECN, one of ours. You're welcome, our special guest, Madam Abubakar Aliyu, Abba Abubakar Aliyu. I've got two people that have got questions to ask. Our house rule is if your name does not appear on your device, you cannot be called upon to speak. So I've got Mr. Mustafa Salihu, and I've also got Dr. Engineer Kazim. So Dr. Mala Mustafa Salihu, you have the floor, and after you, Engineer Kazim should be on standby, and then we'll yield the floor to our special guest. Thank you. Mustafa Salihu, are you there?
Hello, good evening, ma.
Good evening, you're welcome.
Good evening, everybody here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I actually don't know much about the energy something, but I think I have a contribution, especially here in the Northwest. I'm calling from Kaduna State.
You're welcome.
Here in the Northwest, I think we have a contribution. Coincidentally, on Monday this week, we orchestrated a proposal to the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Technology in Kaduna about an independent power plant that uses CNG to the contribution of power shortage that we are having in the whole of the Northwest. So I don't know if that it's something that can actually go with what is happening here.
Okay, is that thank you, Mustafa Salau. It's Dr. Engineer Kazim. Engineer Dr. Kazim, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, madam.
You've got 1 minute, please, and then we'll yield the floor to our special guest.
Okay, thank you. And many thanks for this strategic thinking you guys brought on board. Just to leverage on this, just on the 4th of March, we, during the World Engineering Day, I am speaking as the chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Electrical Electronics Engineers here in Calabar. So we want to leverage on what is happening at the University of Calabar, because I was told we have a big solar farm there. So though I work in a private company, but being the chairman of the institute, I do go to University of Calabar and University of Cross River to really see how we can bring the young electrical student on board. So I intend to take them to University of Calabar, but unfortunately, I was told that for now, we can't visit that very particular solar farm. And I know in University of Maiduguri, sometimes ago we had, and I even saw the clip, sometimes ago we had students that went for familiarization tour. I wonder why we were denied that opportunity. So I feel this is an opportunity to actually bring the younger minds together and really showcase what the Renew Hope agenda is all about, to bring them on board, to actually domesticate the issue of solarization to them at this younger age. So please, I don't really know. Maybe it's part of our policy not to allow us there or what, because for me, this is an opportunity for us. This is just my question. Thank you, MD. Thank you for the good job you guys are doing. I really appreciate why I'm here, and I so much feel if given opportunity, we can be following this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kazim. So I'll now yield the floor to our special guest, Mala Abba Abubakar Aliyu, MD, CEO, Rural Electrification Agency.
All right, thank you very much. So starting the first question, the guy from Kaduna on the IPP, with CNG. Yes, we are looking at all the renewable sources, not only solar, but like I mentioned earlier, all the sources that we are looking must be an economically viable model. You see, in Rural Electrification Agency, it's not just about deploying the panels and the infrastructure, but there is a commercial framework, because we do our financial modeling from the beginning to determine what may likely be the tariff, because the cost of the tariff the cost of the infrastructure, the total cost of the investment is what would determine the tariff. And there is a direct relationship between the two costs. The higher the cost of the infrastructure, the higher the tariff, the lower the tariff. And in renewable, all our intervention is expected to reduce the tariff. So that is why we only use models that have been tested, and we determine based on the financial model that the tariff is within the range that is acceptable to us. For the CNG, we are waiting. We have received also a number of proposals, so we are waiting for a private sector to do a hybrid of the solar CNG for us to see the tariff. It is fall within the range. Absolutely, we would go for it in our deployment. I gave the example of the project that we are doing in Gombe State in community called Balanga, where we are deploying a micro hydro with a solar. And this is one of the cheapest projects in terms of tariff in the entire country, because during the day, the solar will provide the electricity. During the night, we turn on the turbines and they provide the electricity. So there's no battery, that significantly reduces the cost of our investment. So any model like this that we see the tariff is good, we would key into it. The second question about the University of Calabar and the youth and the training. Yes, we have a big solar farm in University of Calabar, 7 megawatt, that is powering the university and the teaching hospital. And one thing that I have not mentioned is that in all these universities that we deploy this high infrastructure, we also developed a world-class training center, and we equipped that training center with equipment to train the student of the university in renewable engineering. Not only that, in all the 7 universities that we completed the project and the 8 that we are working on, we train STEM students, science, technology, engineering, mathematics students from soil testing to the commissioning of the project. We involve them. And for our policy of diversity, we only train 20 female STEM students in each universities. But the world-class training center has capacity to train 100 students at a go. I'm sure why the University of Calabar did not give you the opportunity to go to the solar farm to train, because maybe at that time we have not completed, because even now we are putting some finishing touches. We had a flood challenge based on our fault in the environmental social impact assessment that we have done. So it was delayed. It affected the deployment of our infrastructure. So definitely once that it's completed, they will give you the opportunity to participate, because we envisage that the university will use that training center as a source of revenue generation, to give opportunity to private sector to come use the equipment to train and see the power solar farm for training purpose, and maybe the consulting arm of the university use it as a source of revenue. So please bear with us. We'll definitely open all these training centers to the general public and private sector for them to make use of it. But don't forget, we will charge you for that usage of that infrastructure. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so very much, Chief Host, for that elaborate response to those questions. I will now, I think we still got a couple more hands up, but then I need to let our participants know that we will be, we have only 23 minutes to go now. So we'll try as much as possible to cram in as much questions as we can. So if you're given the floor, please make sure you stick to that 1 minute for your questions, so that we'll be able to give other people the chance to be able to ask their question. So I'll be calling on my next co-host now, who is Honorable Tosin Olayinka. Honorable Tosin Olayinka, you have the floor now, and you take on the next 2 questions.
Thank you very much, our chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. And also, I welcome you, our distinguished guest, Mr. Abba Abubakar Aliyu. Thank you for all the analysis you've been giving so far. Personally, I have some questions, but in the course of your analysis, I think you've done justice to them all. So thank you very much for this. I therefore proceed to call on our participants. I would like to call on Mr. Henry Oriabure. And shortly after that, I want Mr. Adeto Adediran to get ready. Mr. Henry Oriabure, you have the floor now. Can we please unmute Mr. Henry Oriabure?
I want to say thank you very much for this opportunity. And I want to say I'm very, very impressed to Mr. Aliyu passion. He's passionate, he has in-depth knowledge about what is going on. I'm so proud of you. My name is Henry Oriabure. It's not really a question because it's a contribution in a way and a question in a way because I'm based in the UK. I want to bring the UK perspective into Nigeria grant sector. I've been involved in the UK government decarbonization scheme, which is 1 billion in 2020. And I was a technical lead on the 18.93 million in the area of a decarbonization project that involves integration of solar panels, battery optimizations, and heat pump technology within the UK. And one thing I want is a contribution, because you've covered everything. One thing you must understand, within the UK, we're talking about net zero economy. And there's, in terms of moving Nigeria, the transition into net zero economy, the strategy of localizing is important. And the area I want to talk about is the regulations, because I noticed that I've registered on your portal, I came from London, I've got my own company. I'm one of the first Black Nigeria, I will tell you, in the UK and in the world that is practically involved in what they call renewable energy. And I'm one of the best. And my role is to give back to my country legacy. And that's why I went into renewable energy. And it's a specialized thing. But I want to highlight areas that are important for us to align the strategy, because you've done an amazing job. And one is the regulation and compliance. In the UK, we have regulations and compliance. And two, we talk about standardizations. And I'm glad I've read I'm so happy for what our president have done. In the UK, we have Energy Security Act 2023. And for the first time in the history for over 20 years, our president has basically decentralized the Energy Act. And I've read it's 152 pages. And I did a presentation in London on energy. So I understand, I'm so impressed about that. But the onions is the practicalization, the implementation. I'm glad what Dr. Mustafa said. He talked about localized solarization. We have to think about adapting whatever we do to our environment. And that's why you need people in diaspora like me. I don't believe in talking the talk. I've walked the walk in the UK. If I've done it in UK, I want to give back to my country, Nigeria. And we have to localize that technology. And we will do a fantastic job, but we need to look at circular economy, the transition to net zero. How do you generate income from these projects? That's an area we have to look at, submitting, integrating it to have the circular economy and net zero. Income generation, that's an aspect. You've covered everything about it. Energy security. I understand you've given the security to big companies that have done so many projects, but we need to look inward about local content. Most of these projects have been done are not rocket science.
Thank you, Mr. Henry Oriabure. I guess probably the time that you are allowed to speak probably was over. Probably you may have an opportunity to put forward your submission, and we can find a way to get it across to our special guest. Now I move forward to Mr. Adeto Adediran. Can we please help meet Mr. Adeto Adediran? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to switch on my camera, but I think it's from your hand. But to start with, I really want to appreciate Malam Abba Aliyu and the other doctor that spoke, Abdullah. But I must confess, my name is Tokubadejo. I'm calling from Toronto, Canada. I must confess, I'm very, very proud of you. You know, everything about you shows when somebody is very knowledgeable, there is no way you can hide it. So my first thing to you is that why are you hiding yourself and your department? Because the only thing we know about Nigeria everywhere is politics today on channels or Arise, which is not showing the country good. So people like you should be on the radio, on everywhere, every day. You know, when you tell people, Nigerians are very easy to manage. Nigeria want to see that you are doing something. They want to see, even though it's not showing now, they want to hear it and have hope. But when you hide yourself and nobody's hearing you, just few of us here, to me, I don't think it's doing the administration a very good thing. So from Monday, try and go to the radio stations, local ones, where they speak Hausa, where they speak Igbo, Yoruba, English, because you have it. And that is how we can know what the president is doing and what everyone is doing. Not just today we hear about Cross River, tomorrow is another state. We don't want that one. We want good news like this to be coming up every day, every day. That is one. Then the second one is that I'm thinking of more of investments into this project. Because by the grace of God, my wife, she has worked in World Bank, IFC for some years before she stepped down. And while she was there, I was always telling her that how can we gain from your projects? And I know most of the projects they do there because I'm a business analyst, project manager, IT, whatever. So I help her to understand what they are doing. So I see a lot of opportunities in that place. So let us know can we invest? People like maybe diaspora that have the money or that can get funds together. Is there opportunity or is already filled up? Maybe we are not big boys like the Mikano or Giant guys, but we can invest and support the rural electrification of solar panels, all this stuff that you are talking about, which I understand it. So what is your website? Where do we learn all these things you are doing? Because this is the first time I'm hearing your name. I'm hearing about everything I know is that power and steel, whatever ministry. But if you guys are doing this kind of job, you need to be there. So let us know the link, more awareness, more visibility, more information to people, mass information. So I don't want you to go to channels or Arise where they will just shut you down with politics questions. Go to Wazobia, places like that, and go to market. Go to market, get a DJ, play music, tell them what you are doing. Mass information that all of us will know. Then we also too will be proud of you. I know you can do. I trust you. I don't know you, but from what I heard from you, I love you. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That was wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Adeto Adeduran, for that submission. Yeah, if I may add, I may say it's time for our special guest to start blowing his trumpet. Okay, sir, in order to answer those questions and submissions, I may have to yield the floor to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much once again. I think for Henry's, it's not much of a question, it's more of a comment. He referenced the Electrification Act that has been signed, which has liberalized the entire sector and has given the subnational the opportunity to participate in the entire electricity value chain. But he also referenced the need for the implementation of the act. If Mr. Harry is following the activities of Rural Electrification Agency, you will see that we are at the forefront of ensuring the implementation of the act by we created state-by-state roundtable. Just last week, we had the one with Adamawa State, where we engaged the entire state, present the opportunities that the Electrification Act of 2023 has provided, show them also the geospatial mapping that we have done of the state, and bring in the investors around them for them to make a pitch to the investors to woo them to their state. I think we are really confident in the implementation of the act, and we are doing right away. Even next week, We are going to have very soon with Cross River, with Lagos, with Kano, and with Ekiti State. So if you are following our activities, you will see all those engagement with the subnational, and that is purely to make sure that we implement the Electrification Act. For regulation and standardization, the regulation is the work of the regulator. Standardization, we have our standardized the document which you can access and see what it contains. We just updated it with the support of UK NIAF, a UK-based development agency that supported us in doing that. Mr. Adeto, thank you for your kind words. Your first question, why we are hiding ourselves, that was exactly one of the question that His Excellency, the Vice President, when we presented the plan for the National Electrification Strategy and Implementation Plan, that's the same question he asked us. I think my belief it's more around let the work speak, that we are doing speak of itself. Let the commissioning, before being appointed of that, I used to personally ask myself that if I get a government opportunity, I would like to speak more about I have delivered rather than I'm planning to do. So I'm more around talking, getting what has been delivered. If you follow, just in last 2 weeks, we added 3 megawatts of clean renewable energy in the national grid. We were in Plateau State where we commissioned a 50 kilowatt. We were in Cross River where we also commissioned about 400 kilowatt. We were in Niger, Lambata, where we commissioned 900 kilowatt interconnected mini grid. And just on Friday, I was in Ogun, Iborogun, I think, where we commissioned 500 in isolated mini grid and 500 interconnected mini grids. And if you are following our LinkedIn post and some media, just Google REA, you will see some of this publication that are there. So I prefer to use more of the time to go to the TV station, go to do commissioning. I want to place it also on record. We are planning, this is my little secret, but I think because of what Dato mentioned, I want to now bring it out as my little secret. We are planning to set a record in commissioning mini grids in Plateau State, where we intend to commission 19 mini grids in a day, 19 with over 2 megawatt capacity. And we also from there, we are going to Nasarawa to also commission, I think about 20 something. So this is a little secret. So I prefer to let the commissioning speak for itself rather than going to talk about what I'm doing or what I'm planning to do in that regard. And but I would definitely go out more to engage with the TV media as you recommended. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you, Tosin.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. In fact, that was a very, very succinct one. On this note, I would like to yield the floor back to our chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so very much, Honorable Tosin. And thank you once again to our special guest for giving us another scoop. Because I keep saying, because you gave Nigerians across the whole world now a double scoop now about this mini grid that you're planning to commission in Plateau State and in Nasarawa. Thank you for that. I keep saying to people, when you want a scoop from our leaders, come to our program. You 50% or 60% of the time you get a scoop, and we just go through today. Thank you so very much for that, sir. We appreciate it. So now we've got only 8 minutes to go, and I've got a couple of hands up, but I'm just gonna call just 2 of them. The other ones, if you are at liberty to please go on our chat room to put your question on there with your details, either your email address and your name, and I will forward it to our special guest who will then respond to it personally. So I'm going to be calling Engineer Abayomi Onafuye and Pelumi Alibisala. So the rest, I'm afraid we won't be able to call you because, like I said, we want to strictly stick to our 2 hours so that we don't belabor our special guest. So Engineer Abayomi, you have the floor now. Then Pelumi Alibisala should be on standby, but you have only 1 minute each to ask your questions. Thank you very much.
Greetings, sir. Great engineer, great Malam Abba. My name is Abayo Mionofi. Actually, I just want to just a follow-up question on your activities so far. You have been so wonderful with your presentation. I just want to ask, what effort are you making on bringing OEM down to Nigeria so that all those equipment we manufacture here, the solar panel and other batteries, because it's all about local content to promote, because we have a lot of mineral resources like the lithium is readily available in Nasarawa State, because if it's available here, it can be producing and it will reduce so much stress on dollar. That's my question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much. So now move over straight to Pelumi Alibisala. You have 1 minute. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity. First, I'd like to congratulate the MD. It's a well-deserved confirmation. I just want to say that you should keep the open door policy that you have always run, and I'm very optimistic that you will do greater things for the country. My question is, considering the important role of SMEs and MSMEs in the economy and how important they are to the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, does the REA have any plans to support SMEs in accessing affordable energy? If I use my business as an example, where I need about 60 kVA to minimum of 60 kVA generator to power on a daily basis. And if I look at the costs to set up a solar to power that factory is huge in the immediate. Are there plans by the REA or partners or their partners to bring this affordable energy closer to SMEs and MSMEs, especially those in the agro-processing and agri-food industry? Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. I think our special guest now, you have the floor now, sir, to round up.
All right, thank you. The question by Mr. Bayomi around the OEM to Nigeria and local content, I think we have deliberated so much around that. Like I mentioned, it is one of the biggest biggest legacy that the current government wants to leave behind, making Nigeria to be the renewable hub of the country, and that require localizing the manufacturing of the entire value chain of the renewable equipment. And like I mentioned also already, a number of that had already been done, which people may not be aware. We have crystallized the currently over 600 megawatt of photovoltaic panels assembly and manufacture in Nigeria. And like I said, I don't like to make rhetoric. I like to state on the record for you to go and verify. There's JRV with 250 megawatt capacity here in Abuja. We are about to commission it. There's Lavin that has already started producing 100 megawatt capacity. There's Oxano with 110 megawatt capacity. And there's the Grid Connect. I think I'm not sure of the company, but Grid Connect that's almost rounded off 150 megawatt capacity. So these are ones that already been done. And I spoke about the investment of Green Vault, $150 million for the lithium battery assembly and manufacturing. We are in discussion with Philip EV, also another one that is deploying 1 gigawatt of PV manufacturing, entire 14 process of PV manufacturing. And I mentioned that very soon you will see us signing a joint development Corp and Mofi for 1 gigawatt, also PV panels manufacturing plant, and another one that we would crystallize with the support of Wando for and 1.2 gigawatt manufacturing plant. So this is all happening very soon. In April, there is going to be a local manufacturing summit in Nigeria where we invite all these manufacturers and those that intend to do it, and we'll tell them our standardization and what the government is putting in place to make them enable them to make such investment in the country. So a lot is happening within that, and you can reach to our office to get more around it. The question around Pelumi, I think it's the Pelumi that I have known. You're doing a great job in agriculture. I think we exchanged message one time on Twitter with you. And you know, definitely we have a lot of projects around the agriculture. Like I said, agriculture is one of the sectors that we are intervening. In fact, we designed a project called Energizing Agriculture Program, where we are deploying mini-grid around agricultural hubs. We have already mapped the entire agricultural hubs, the entire cottage industries hub, and we are partnering with small and medium enterprise development agency. The DG there is a very also forward-thinking DG. We are partnering with him for the deployment of this infrastructure around this cottage industry and these agricultural areas. Of course, we may not come to your maybe agricultural hub now, but definitely under the desk, we will partner with you. Our target under desk is to deploy 1,300 and 1,450 mini grids, including the 100 from the Japanese International Development Agency investment. And most of them will be around productive use areas and the last mile. So definitely be rest assured that we will soon cover your area. And this is the dream that we shared and the commitment and the drive given to us by Honorable Minister of Power. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so very much, our special guest of honor. I think it is, again, before I close, I need to apologize again to the hands we've got up, because I've already said it that we want to stick to our 2 hours, and we don't want to belabor our special guests at all, because they take time out of their very tight schedule to be with us. So the least we can do is to ensure that we stick to our time. So that's the reason why I'm apologizing to those hands up. Please put your questions on the chat room, and with your details, your name, and whether you want to be responded to by email or by text. Put whichever of the two onto it. We will forward it to our special guest, who will then can guarantee you he will respond to you personally. So thank you so very much. To our special guest, what can I say, sir? Before I go, let me just do there's some takeaways that I took here today. So let me start from the scoop of the day. You just give us a scoop again, for which I'm grateful for. The REA is planning to set a record of commissioning 19 mini grids in Plateau State and another 21 in Nasarawa. I think that deserves a round of applause for that. Thank you so very much, sir, for that, because these are the kind of success stories that we like to be telling the whole world about Nigeria, especially for those who are always telling bad stories about the country. Now, that's another one we have on you guys. Thank you so very much, sir. So many takeaways here. I'm just going to pick maybe one or two, and then at the rest, I'm going to talk about them in my thank you letter tomorrow. One of which is that you have 600 million people. We have 600 million people globally without electricity, and Nigeria has the highest of these 600 million people, which is 86 million, we are told today, without access to electricity. And what REA is doing now is to ensure that at least 50% of these people get access to affordable electricity. They are planning to have 200 mini grids across the country, and just recently, a special guest visited Ibaragum in Ogun State to commission 1 megawatt, which was provided to them. And so many of them, so many takeaways for today. But like I said, I don't want to belabor you, because we said 2 hours and it's 2 minutes past the 2 hours now. So for that, I have to apologize. But then again, before you go, sir, I just want you to give us maybe your last remarks to Nigerians across the world watching us. Maybe there's one or two things that you want to take off your chest, sir, before we close. Thank you.
Yes. So my last remark is just to inform the general public that people need to understand how daring and how bold the president of the country is. People are conversant with for example, the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, the Sokoto Badagry, all those dairy mega projects. But what people are not aware is the same way Mr. President is intervening in those areas, even in the renewable space, he's doing those setting records that people are not aware of. The DES project is the biggest public sector upgrade project in the world. When he came, one of the first things he said is the 750, and he did not stop there. He gave us the approval to start negotiating for another 200. He didn't stop there. When he went to Tanzania, part of the takeaway is additional 700. So imagine close to 3 billion channel into the renewable space. We have nothing but to give gratitude to Mr. President for the drive. Then the Honorable Minister, his leadership is one of the things that really drives me. He nominated me for appointment without knowing who am I. He has never seen me. He only know of me when I was managing the World Bank and African Development Bank Project Management Unit, and he nominated me to become the MD. I'm deeply grateful to him. And beyond that, he's given me the space to innovate, to be daring, to continue to push us to do more. I would forever give gratitude to his style of leadership, for the work, for the achievement that we are doing. And I tell you that in the next 30 years, the entire energy space in the country will not be the same. A lot of things will be done, and not only in the manufacturing, but also the renewable asset management company that will be semi-independent with its own assets and funding to continue to deploy infrastructure across the country. The space of the RESCO, it's an initiative of ours, the Renewable Energy Service Company. Very soon we will be talking more of RESCOs than the distribution company. They will take over, and we are seeing sign of that. For example, Ikeja Disco already is discussing with one of our developer, Dawekos, to outsource a complete state under its franchise area to this developer to power the entire state and give it 24 hours. These are all game-changing events that are being discussed and that may likely happen in the country, which would change the narrative of electricity in the country. So with patience, you continue to see these changes. And to the hosts and other co-hosts for finding me worthy to invite me, I really appreciate giving this opportunity to say the little achievement that we have done. Thank you very much. To the Chief of Staff, I've said that he's still logging in. My senior brother, he's giving us also all the support. He do call me to his office, challenge me to do more. At times I'll go back to the office. I feel like, can I really do this job? Because of the high expectation. Thank you, sir, for continuing to believe us and challenge us to do more. And to all the Nigerians, thank you very much for the patience and giving us the opportunity to serve you. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so very much. You know, we can't thank you enough. I think the thanks is more to you than to us, because you came, you saw, and I dare say you conquered. Because with the encomiums that you're getting from both in the chat room and from participants who had the floor, I think it's fair to say that you have been doing a fantastic job. And I'm just going to say kudos to you, sir. Please don't relent on your oars, because Nigeria needs people like you. And I believe that with people like you, with people like Right Honorable Femi Gbadabiamila in this government, and Dr. Isaiah Niniola, I believe the only way is up for Nigeria. And on that note, I will say thank you so much, sir, and my regards to your family. And don't be surprised, we might even come knocking on your door again, that we want you again, because I can see people by popular demand asking us to come back for you. So please keep your door open. We might come again, sir. Thank you so very much. God bless you. Thank you so very much. So on that note, we are pulling the curtain for today. We've had a blast, if I must say so, because it's been a roller coaster all through the 2 hours. Even I lost count of. I was taking note at some point. I couldn't keep up with what our chief host is saying, our special guest is saying. So I had to rest my pen for a minute. that says a lot about the caliber of people that we have manning different sectors in the country. And for that, we remain grateful to our president, who is legendary for, for headhunting the right people and putting them in the right place and giving them all the support. Our special guest have just told us now, another scoop, that the Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila is always there to encourage them to put in their best. What more can you ask for from your leader? So for that, we remain entirely grateful to all our VVIPs, right from our Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila to the Dr. Niniola and our very own diasporan, Dr. Abdullahi. They always come to support us, our special guests and us. And they just don't breathe in and breathe out. They stay throughout the 2 hours. For that, I think it is. I don't know how to thank them, other than to say thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everybody. So on that note, we'll drop a curtain. So I'm just going to call Haji Abba Abubakar to give us the closing remarks.
Thank you, our chief host. This is where we draw the curtain today. But before we go, I'd like to thank our special guest, Madam Abba Abubakar Aliyu, MD CEO, Rural Electrification Agency, for taking your time, your busy schedule to come and enlighten us on your remarkable work of your agency. Many thanks also to participants who joined us from across the world. We hope you enjoyed our event as much as we enjoy putting it together. On behalf of our Renewed Hope Global Virtual Town Hall Conference, I'll have to say, have a great weekend. Join us again next time when we bring you another edition. Thank you. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you all. Thank you all. In the next few days, we will be posting the details of our next VVIP, who will be gracing the hot seat again to come and enlighten Nigerians about what this Renewed Hope administration is doing to take Nigeria to the 21st century. Thank you, everybody, and God bless you. Have a wonderfully blessed weekend. Thank you.